The online data that we reviewed in the last chapter contains huge amount of text and some computer codes. Now we need to take this data and create meaningful indicators that we can then use in our predictive models. This chapter will review the process of turning raw data into meaningful marketing indicators. First, to understand the process in which we create marketing indicators, let's review the type of data that we can get from the web. Online data can be divided into two main parts: text and code. There are of course other types of data such as images and videos, but we will not touch these today. Analyzing text includes web copy, news, key employees, resumes, and marketing tactics. Underlying code analysis include online technologies, online advertising, third-party codes, and online tracking and measurement. Online data is processed through technologies of crawling and mining. Crawling is the process of creating a robot that goes around the web and reviews the content of websites, social networks, and online databases. The robot then collects the type of data that you need. Data mining is making sense of all this data. A simple example: imagine that we just crawled the website of Eloqua and found a blog post about Eloqua modern marketing experience. Data mining will inform us that Eloqua uses trade shows as one of their marketing tactics. When analyzing online data, one of the most important yet challenging process is turning unstructured data into structured data. For example, look at this bio of Richard Branson. You can immediately understand that Richard Branson is the founder of Virgin Group. Here, the data is relatively structured so that computers can understand this with relative ease. However, imagine that this information is within a blog post or other less structured website. Then the challenge of creating structured data becomes more interesting and complex. Another challenge of creating an accurate set of indicators is standard format. Many job titles can have dozens of permutations, which basically means the same. Have you ever looked at company database and seen the number of ways you can write United States, not including typos? Now, if we keep all these variations in place, while we may know that we actually mean the same thing, a computer may treat them completely different. Therefore, before we start with predictive modeling, we need to make sure to collapse all variations of the same indicator into one. Otherwise, the predictive power of our model will be significantly diminished. Why is matching important? In the previous model, we described a large number of data sources. When data comes from different sources, you need to combine it all together. You need to understand that all the information that you found online relates to the same company or the same individual. In our example, to match all of the data that we find online on Richard Branson with his records in the company database. Matching is a critical process because if we are unable to link online data with our company data, all our crawling and mining were in vain. Therefore, you need to make sure that you can get a very high matching rate so that you will end up with a robust database that is ready to be applied in your predictive model. What is the actual process of creating a marketing indicator? Here is an example of identifying companies that use Microsoft SQL Server. Finding Microsoft SQL Server users is not an easy task, as there is no central database of users. Therefore, identifying those users requires complex detective work that is done at scale through the use of data mining and predictive modeling. In this example, we started by gathering all the evidence that we can about whether a company is using SQL servers. This includes hiring, org chart, website content, and third-party sites. After we gather all available evidence, we use predictive modeling in order to crunch the data and figure out the probability that the company is using Microsoft SQL Server. This technique requires data mining at a huge scale and massive computing power in order to crunch the numbers. However, this example is only for one indicators for one company. In real life, the same process is done for a few thousands of indicators and millions of companies. As a rule of thumb, demographic marketing indicators such as company size are easy to get. However, the more granular you get, the more meaningful your marketing indicators are. Typically, more specific marketing indicators have more business value and tend to be better predictors of fit. This includes information about technology, business practices, hiring, and organizational structure. On the other hand, the more specific a marketing indicator is, the harder it is to develop.